A Visit from St. Nick, which was the original title of the poem, which we now know, of course, as The Night Before Christmas. I want you to come with me now on a journey, if you will, on that most wondrous of all transportation vehicles, your imagination. Come with me now as we turn back the pages of the calendar, back to that time when the inhabitants of this continent numbered but a few hardy souls clustered on the easternmost seaboard. We are pulled northward along that seacoast to the rough-hewn, boulder-strewn area known then and now as New England. We see 'tis the wintertide as the snow is piled high along the roadbed. The road itself has been rutted deep with the sleigh marks as inhabitants visit themselves going to and fro market on this, the most joyous of all holiday seasons. But the sleigh bells are silent now. The horses have been fed and freshly strawed and turned into their stables. As we leave the stable area and peer somewhat boldly into the front room of the main dwelling, we see seated at that focal point of any home of that period the giant opened hearth fireplace, the master of the house, Clement Clark Moore. The fire itself has been allowed to die down from that the most robust of times, that period immediately following the evening meal, when the master of the house gathered his children about him and regaled them with stories of Christmases past, stories of cabbages and kings, ghostly things. But the children have long since gone up to bed, and Mrs. Moore herself has just recently excused, leaving Clement Clark alone to his thoughts. And as he sits gazing into the ever-changing, flickering pattern of flame, an image begins to crystallize. And as that image becomes locked, he rises, crosses to his desk, he takes out his quill pen, and he begins to write. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. My ma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, well, I sprang from my bed to see, what's the matter? Away to the window I flew in the flash, tore open the shutter and threw back the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to the objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh with 8 tiny reindeer, and a little old driver so lively and quick, well, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted, called them by name. Now Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner, on Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly and meet with an obstacle mount to the sky, so up on the porch top his coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. Then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each tiny hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. Well, he was trimmed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung across his back. He looked like a peddler, just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin 'twas as white as the snow. Stump of a pipe he held tight twixt his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. Oh, he had a round face and a broad little belly. It shook when it laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf. I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. But a wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, went straight to his work, filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk. Laying a finger aside of his nose and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the dawn off a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all. God bless you, Pittsburgh Steelers, and to all, good night.
Good job, Coach LeBeau.
Good job.
My God.
LeBeau.